Is dentistry going digital? I hope to shout it is. We begin our podcast right there.
Computers are live, mixers up, levels are good, equalizers good, ready channels 1 and 2. Mic is live in 3, 2, 1, roll it. Welcome, listeners, to the My Practice, My Business podcast, where we teach dentists and their teams how to reclaim forgotten profitability in dentistry with our clinical business of dentistry training. And now, the host of our show, the clinical director at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
If you haven't been to DS World for continuing education, oh man, are you missing out? I had the opportunity to attend last week, and I have to tell you, it was fantastic. And what is DS World? It is Dentsply Sirona's event that is held in Las Vegas each year. It was my first time I've attended this event, and I more than likely will now attend it each and every year. That's how amazing it was. It was great. It's like you're going to your convention on steroids. It was so powerful with 7,500 to 8,000 people there that wanted to be there, paid to be there. They were there to learn, to grow, to understand, to network off of each other, and to just have a great experience learning. DS World is filled with some of the best thought leaders we have in dentistry. There are different tracks you can sign up for. I signed up for the CBCT track, so most of all my classes centered around cone beam. Its abilities and why CBCT is a viable technology that should exist in everybody's dental practice. More on that later in a second. Because this was the first time I've attended, I was completely blind as to what to expect. The logistics of how things were set up, how the overall event could be enjoyed the most. So to my friends at DS World that are now listening to this, you could do a little better job on your logistical information. In spite of that, though, I had an unbelievable experience. It was just great. I couldn't talk about it more. The event was 3 days. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and each morning, all attendees would gather in a huge ballroom where fantastic speakers would share useful information relating to their specific areas of expertise. There was very little fluff, and all of you know I hate going to things that are filled with fluff. There was no jumping up and down and rubbing each other's shoulders and having little cheerleader episodes. Nope, nothing. It was just straightforward knowledge and information. They even had a live implant session going on the first morning, which was amazing. This doc was unbelievable. I wish I could remember his name. I can picture his face. But what a great guy, and you should probably Google that. He has some courses that he offers, and definitely I want to take some courses there. I should have looked that up before doing this podcast because I'd love to put in a plug for it. But it was like being under the gun. I mean, anything could have gone wrong, and everybody there was like, if anything would have gone wrong, we all would have been so understanding because this was being filmed. He was popping in implants on the lower arch. He was using a surgical guide. He had to remove a couple of teeth before. And then he placed an immediate denture down there, so to speak. It wasn't really a true denture. It was more like an arch form. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I used to do those years ago. I don't dig doing implants as much anymore. I love restoring full mouth cases on them, though. Those are fun. But what a great event. And it was great to see just some of the techniques and tricks that he was doing. And then lunch was at noon in the vendor hall with the tables surrounding their booths. It just like being into your regular dental convention. It was like about 2/3 the size of the UDA convention, almost maybe full same size. But imagine tables all the way around the vendors. That's where we ate lunch. So we could just move freely in and out of the vendors that were there with the ones that we had interest in. Way smart idea. Classroom trainings began at 1:30 p.m. and ended around 5 p.m. And those classes in the afternoon are the ones that you sign up for upon registration. And the morning classes, everybody's there, and it's whatever's being taught there. But those afternoon classes, those were cool. And they did that because, on the afternoon classes, lucky for me, Patterson Dental paid for my tuition to be there. because I've been looking at purchasing cone beam technology for the longest time, and this was definitely the place to learn about digital technology like cone beam, CAD/CAM, 3D printing. Baby. So many cool technologies come down the tracks. So obviously at DS World, Sirona and Dentsply were obviously highlighting their products and hoping you would purchase their equipment. But that was not the primary push of the event. Now they're sponsoring that whole thing. It costs a lot of money. Of course they should be allowed to show their wares and their goods and push their products. My gosh, it's like some dentists get so bent out of shape if they go to an event. Oh, they're just trying to sell us. You know what? That's right. It costs a lot of money to put those events on. At our big event in January, January 24th in 2020, we push a few of the things we do, but we push our vendors that are there for the things that we're using that we know work and we love, and they've been tried and tested in multiple practices. So we push our vendors. They don't even have to push themselves. I do that. So it was definitely, though, a huge educational experience. That was their entire theme, as I understood it, was dentistry is going digital. And if you don't realize that, you're going to be left in the dust. That was kind of the theme of the whole thing. And I'm here to tell you that DS World's theme is correct and true. Dentists need to get on the digital bandwagon. Patients love it. Dental teams love it. And it really makes dentistry fun and exciting. I love my CAD/CAM technology. I can't wait for CBCT to be installed in my office here in a couple weeks. I was a pioneer in the field of digital radiography and imaging back in the day. I was the first completely all digital practice in the state of Utah, and I was one of the top 10 in the nation. That's why Dentrix picked me up to lecture for them and do all kinds of fun things, write articles. But I hate saying that because it definitely dates me. And my muscles and joints ache every time I think about how long I've been practicing dentistry. But I was never a big fan in the day with Cerix red and blue light technology. And that's why I went with E4D, which is now owned by Plan Mecca. I mean, and we all know what happened and what took place. The Cerix first technology was technique sensitive. And we saw a lot of open margins with it from patients who would come to us, new patients from other practices where they had a CAD/CAM restoration. But E4D had a laser reader. It was unbelievably fantastic. And it's super accurate, and I loved it, and I still love it. But I have absolutely loved being a forward-thinking digital office for years, and you could never convince me to go back to analog technology ever. With that said, after attending DS World, I realized I'm not on the front of the digital wave. I don't like being a pioneer. I did that with digital imaging and radiography. So that wasn't so fun for me, but I like to be on the front of the wave. I don't, if you're on the crest or the back of the wave, that's not the place to be. But I love the drive, and I love our profession for being digital. It's so cool. And if you're not digital in the things you do, you got to get there. So let me share with you some of my takeaways from attending DS World. You don't have to pay for it this year. I'm going to give you the takeaways, okay? But I so highly recommend going there. I'm going there again and again. It was that good. And before I get into why I attended, the takeaways, it was at Mandalay Bay and the convention center. Oh my gosh, they're huge. It was like when we first went there, everybody's like, oh, I need a rest after walking from the hotel room to the convention center. And for those of you that have been to Vegas, you know exactly what we're talking about. And it was just amazing. The convention center, 3 huge floors. It was like we were on one floor with DS World. There was a cannabis still going on another floor. I'm sure some of the dentists might have got lost, gone down there a couple times. And then a car show on the main floor. So that's the kind of, it was just crazy. But the electricity and the people being there at DS World, that they want to be there. They paid to be there. They're there to learn. Very different than going to a state convention. So with CBC technology, as all of you should know, CBCT stands for Cone Beam Computed Tomography. It's also referred to as C-arm CT, Cone Beam Volume CT, Flat Panel CT. I mean, there's probably some names I'm missing. But CBCT is a medical imaging technique and it consists of X-ray computed tomography, where the X-rays are divergent, forming a cone. This technology, it produces a 3-dimensional image of teeth and soft tissues and nerve pathways and bone in a single scan, but with the primary focus being hard tissue. As you all should know, MRIs, right? Soft tissue, CT, hard tissue, but there's overlap with both technologies. So most dentists use CBCT technology for implant placement because it really does take the guesswork out of where an implant should be placed, especially with the use of surgical guides. But for me, that's not my primary focus in wanting to obtain a CBCT machine. My reasons for wanting cone beam in my office was to aid and is to aid in the diagnosis and treatment of periodontal disease, endodontic therapy, and our good buddy sleep apnea. Implants, it was actually 4th on my list. I've placed implants for umpteen years. I just don't enjoy it as much as I used to. I love building full mouth cases on them, and I'm not talking about all on 4 plastic. Nope. I love 6 implants and 3 bridges, and I've been doing that for years and years with huge success. I quickly learned at DS World that the diagnostic abilities of CBCT were better than I had thought. Another class I attended there was on medical billing of CBCT imaging and interpretation, and other procedures that we're currently providing in our practice you can bill medical for. And I've never been a big fan of billing medical for anything. And I get my patients to always pay out of pocket for things that dentistry doesn't cover. But I got my interest sparked like there's no tomorrow by being at DS World. And we're definitely going to be giving it a try. I'll keep all of you informed on that as time goes on. And we're going to, by the time our big event happens in January, hope all of you can attend that. It'll be up on our website pretty soon. But we'll have a whole thing on medical billing. And if we've been as successful as we believe we're going to be, Tracy will spend some time on that. And if we haven't been, she'll probably give it about 30 seconds. But now for full disclosure, I've been doing hard research on CBCT manufacturers and looking at the pros and cons of each. And the most important takeaway I have that I've gained from all my research and investigations on cone beam technology is that all of them produce a fantastic image, and all of them are doing great. So there I was eating lunch at DS World, and I ended up after looking at Dentsply Sirona's cone beam and just weighing the pros and cons of what it was that I wanted in my practice, I just pulled the trigger on the Plan Mecca Viso CBCT. I felt so guilty being at DS World and pulling the trigger on Plan Mecca. But the problem with Sirona is, although Sirona has the corner on CAD/CAM technology with CEREC, they've allowed Plan Mecca to continue its dominance in the cone beam world, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Having said that, Plan Mecca has not kept on CAD/CAM with their products. So CEREC is definitely the leader with their mill and prime scan unit. Make no mistake about it. So all was not lost at DS World, you good people there, because I ended up acquiring the latest CEREC unit to replace my Plan Mecca E4D unit. I would have never done that had I not seen the CEREC in operation at DS World and all the other functionality it has with it. It's amazing. I got a decent trade-in on my E4D, and the financing with Patterson was 12 months, no payment, no interest. How could I possibly pass that up? That was such a great deal, so it wasn't hard for me to do that. The ROI with CAD/CAM technology, though, is one of the best ROIs in dentistry. All the equipment and sales reps out there will tell you that your break-even point with CAD/CAM is roughly 16, 17 units each month, and they have to say that from the manufacturers. But at MPMB, we'll show you how to make that ROI in just under 7 units each month. You heard me correctly, 7 units each month. That's where we are able to take that ROI to. So CAD/CAM technology, it's also fun. And even better, patients love it. They love watching you create crowns, and they love having that crown delivered in the same appointment. They're happy to sit there for a few extra minutes, about 45 minutes, waiting for that crown to be processed and completed, sometimes up to an hour, okay? but we just we put a movie on for them or whatever they want, and they're happy campers. And I hope I don't blow this, otherwise I'm going to get a rash full of crap hit me on Monday. But with Sure Smile aligners, the capability with Sure Smile aligners with the CEREC unit, with that Prime Scan, it was a no-brainer add-on for the purchase. And now, very easily, I have the ability to do aligners in my practice. They've taken the toughness out of doing aligners. And the interesting thing out there is look at the companies out there saying, hey, just take an impression of your mouth on Amazon and, send in your impression. And, we've got aligners that are being sold for roughly $2,000 per patient. And there's some problems with that. Not with Sure Smile aligners being under the direction of an actual healthcare provider, us, the dentist or orthodontist. It's unbelievable. The actual scan of the teeth for both crown and bridge and aligners is so fast. It is unbelievably fast and accurate that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some extra Netflix time in my office. That's one of my Achilles heels. I love watching Netflix in between patients. The jury is out, though, with ROI. The jury, wait a second, let me back that up. The jury is not out on an ROI with CBCT. Oh, I know. The sales folks will tell you what the manufacturers tell them, that by using CBCT on your patients, you'll find work to do that you never saw with 2D imaging. And that sales tactic just bugs me. Okay, I'm not looking for more dentistry to do. If I happen to find it, great. But that's, I'm using it for diagnostic capabilities. Having said that, after attending DS World and seeing all the capabilities of CBCT that I did, I'm all for dental colleagues taking a CBCT on every patient whenever they want to. Because, and I'm not talking like every visit, but gosh, every year or so, because there are things that typically can hide in 2D imaging that cannot easily, it can't be easily found on 2D, but on 3D you can find it. And before you have an ethical ADA meltdown on me with what we've been told about protocol frequency of CBCT scans, let me take you back a few years. When digital panels came into play, with the reduction in radiation per image, docs were thinking how nice it would be to capture panels on all patients on an annual basis. Why? Because it helps with increased patient care and diagnostics and things that would be hiding. If something was hiding and just beginning to manifest itself, you could pick it up on a panel where you might miss it on a film because it might be completely out of the view. You get the idea. So what should really determine the frequency of a CBCT? I'll let you decide that. But man, I'm all for taking those as often as you need to. Radiation dosage, we'll talk about that. The American Dental Association and the FDA, they recommend that clinicians perform dental x-ray examinations, including dental CBCT, only when necessary for the diagnosis or treatment of disease. The clinical benefit of a medically appropriate x-ray imaging exam outweighs the small radiation risk, they said, though. However, effort should be made to help minimize that risk. The radiation amount, you guys, with CBCT scan, it just depends on the field being captured, how much field you want. Geez, you can narrow it down to just an arch. You can take an anterior shot. You can take a big, wide picture. What's amazing to me is the fact that the radiation dosage per scan, even on a full view, is still significantly lower than analog technology when attempting to capture, large amounts of information like full mouth FMX. I mean, I was absolutely amazed at where these machines are going and the software and how low the radiation dosage is with the information that the software will pick up. It's just fantastic. You've got to love digital dentistry. The primary concern, according to the ADA, though, is in young patients. Young patients will absorb that radiation and it's bad for them. But radiation affects children the most, and the older the patient, the safer the radiation dosage becomes in most of those cases. Well, I'm not using it on kids. I'm only, I rarely would I take a full scan on a child unless there was a reason for me to do it. And the same with adults, but it's like the adults, it's way safer for an adult than it is a child for any kind of radiation. But the bottom line is the CBCT is an amazing technology that can and should be part of our diagnostic armamentarium in our offices. From mapping airways and bone dimensions for implants and pathologies and root structures and so much more, CBCT was right for me. And I hope it's right for you too. I hope you look at it because there's been a lot of scare out there about the amount of radiation that these machines are putting out. Well, that was true back in the day, but man, it just isn't nowadays. When I attended DS World, you guys, I went to do my final research on CBCT to see if Sirona was a better match for me than Plan Mecca. I just chose Plan Mecca for my needs. But I'm here to tell you that what one company might be in the top position this year, that can flip so fast as we've seen with all technologies. Most important thing, my goodness, just get it. If you get a good deal on a Sirona and a CAD cam at the same time, or you get a better deal on a Sirona than a Plan Mecca, run with it. You won't be disappointed, I'll tell you that. But attending and seeing the possibilities of the CEREC CAD cam system was a game changer for me. But here was the killer. My Patterson rep was not willing to let me purchase the CEREC CAD cam system there at DS World unless I could show him the return on investment and benefits to my patients over my current CAD cam system that was already paid for and giving me a fantastic ROI. Man, what a great sales rep. It's like, talk about a pain in the butt. Patterson rep, don't we wish all of our reps had that type of thought leadership in having our backs when it comes to our desire to make large purchases. I love that he had that thought leadership, and I'm grateful. After I had to literally write on a piece of paper and prove the benefits of the CEREC purchase for my practice, and as soon as I showed him what I conservatively estimated the ROI would be and how it would benefit my practice, then he allowed me to buy it. Oh, anyway, and it's just funny. I love that though, and I hope all your reps are like that. And right now, I can't wait for both technologies to be up and running in my practice, and they will be here this month, here very closely. And most importantly, I can't wait for my patients to benefit from my decisions to upgrade my CAD/CAM equipment and to upgrade my digital pan to a CBCT unit. I can't wait for them to experience it, and I look so forward. I hope I'm able to catch things. There's nothing more rewarding than when you can catch like a pre-malignant oral lesion in the mouth, or you capture something that just does your patients such a service that they just love you. And I love it when we can capture those things, let alone the day-to-day dentistry. I love our profession. I hope you love it as much as I do too. Going to DS World, man, it just lit a fire under me. And I hope all of you get the opportunity to attend that. Check it out online, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for tuning into the My Practice, My Business podcast. You can find additional podcasts you may have missed that will help you with your dental practice at Apple iTunes Podcasts. And remember to become a subscriber to our podcast. Many of you have asked how to help support the My Practice, My Business podcast. If you have enjoyed the program and information you received today, the best way to help is to leave us a 5-star review. Thanks again for allowing us to be a part of your day.